I knew it. I knew it. Didn't I say it? He usually lets himself be captured for a purpose. Hi everyone, I'm going to react to Bungo Stray Dogs, Season 4, Episode 8. You, a child of sin. I, a child of sin. Okay. I guess we're all sinners. Last episode, the epic entrance. The hunting dogs showed up and now they were going after our people, and the blind one and the swordsman were after the guys when they were trying to escape with the car, and then they slashed the car in half and they were about to kill Yusano, and then Truya just made his epic entrance and he said he was sent by Mori, to save them, of course. So yeah, that's why the episode ended. And before we get into this one, if you guys have my reaction, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and please consider supporting on Patreon at patreon.com/feelmini. And now let's start this episode, and here we go. First of all, Kuniki is not dead. Like, I refuse to believe that. I feel like whatever the swordman does to protect himself from the bomb or whatever is gonna also have an effect on Kunikida, so he's gonna be alive. This freaking liar, Mori and Fukuzawa, when they were, I remembered, I don't think I said it during my my discussion of the particular episode, but when they came to arrest Fukuzawa, he had just hung up on a phone call, and yeah, I didn't think about it during that episode. But when Chuya showed up at the end of last episode, and I was editing the episode where he was on the call, I'm like, maybe that was a call between him and Mori. And that's why Chuya showed up at the end there. And that's exactly what happened. And the deal was for one member. I don't like it. Was the deal for one member of the agency to join the poor mafia. Okay. I've always been wondering what's the relationship between Yusano and Mori, because she refers to him as Mori Sensei, and then when they were in the car, she's like, I know about this hideout, but I don't really want to go there, or something or other along those lines. And there must be something between those two, right? And then this episode happens, and he's like, yes, I made this deal with Fukuzawa. One of you is going to be joining the poor mafia. And she's like, you're doing all of this because you want me to join the poor mafia? And he's like, yes. And Yusano is like, there's no way that Fukuzawa would accept. Oh, my hair. There was no way that Fukuzawa would accept those conditions. And Fukuzawa did accept it, but he said the one condition is that Yusano herself is not part of the person that's going to be joining the poor mafia. He said it. But then this freaking liar turns around and lies to Yusano. Is like, oh no, he's willing to let you go. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? You freaking liar. And then you had Asushi and Kyuka, like they were in hiding for 2 days. They came out and then they're like, okay, we need to find something to eat. We need to find somewhere to hide or something or other like that. They were walking in the streets and there were these news reports happening on the screen about the detective agencies being these murderers and whatnot. And they were walking around like, at least Kyuka had a hat on, but still, I didn't feel like that was much of a disguise. I'm like, I'm thinking, why y'all just walking around in the streets when y'all are being hunted down and stuff like that? But then Kyuka turns around and gives him a hat to wear. And they were walking and walking and walking, and so she was thinking, okay, what are we supposed to do here? Like, I don't know. And then you hear the guy's voice, and then he was like right behind him. At first, I was excited when I saw his silhouette, and then instead of myself, I'm like, I don't think he's actually there. And then they showed him not actually being there. Him just, it's just associate thinking like, what would Dazai do, in that particular moment? And then he's like, okay, there's one way to prove our innocence. And I'm like, what is it? And he's talking about Mushitaro. And I'm like, are we really sure that Mushitaro is still alive? Because yes, they used them to sort of like uncover all the buried evidence or whatnot, that the members of the agency, like all the crimes they've committed and all that, to make it come back out or whatnot. But would they actually keep him alive? Well, he is valuable. Like, his ability is valuable. Like, if you commit a crime, you can make it disappear. So I guess he could still be alive. So they're trying to locate him, and they're thinking, okay, we need to go to Francis. And they go to Francis. When they got into the building, Asushi could smell blood. And then he got there. He ran upstairs and he saw Francis fighting Nathaniel. And he used $50,000 to basically get rid of Nathaniel. But then it wasn't really, he didn't really get rid of him because the thing that he launched at Nathaniel had his blood on it and whatnot, and he used that when him and Asushi were talking, and Asushi was trying to convince him to help him or something or other like that. And then they showed Fyodor, like he was telling Asushi that Fyodor is not someone that you can defeat, and that he's in this particular moment being held in this prison in Europe that's sort of like impenetrable and whatnot. And they showed him Fyodor saying that he needed to get rid of Francis because he can use the eyes of God to find, was it to find Mushitaro? Was that what he's thinking? I don't know, but he knew that he could use the eyes of God to basically hinder his plans and whatnot. So he's like, okay, we need to get rid of him. And when Francis went back to try to grab hold of whatever it is that he launched at Nathaniel that got stuck into the wall or whatever, Nathaniel's ability sort of like activated, and he's like, oh, okay, I'm about to die. And I'm thinking that since Asushi in his tiger form is really like super fast, I'm thinking he was gonna be the one to save him. But it turns out that it was Kyoka, and that before it happened, there was this warning on the screen that says turn on the sprinklers or something or other like that. Where did that come from? Wait a sec. Was it from Dazai? It must be from Dazai, right? 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 I knew it, man. Like, I knew it. I'm like, Dazai just... He's not that easy to catch. You're not going to catch him that easily, okay? And if you catch him, it means that he wants you to catch him. And that's exactly what happened. He wanted to be caught and wanted to be brought where Fyodor was so that he can basically discern what his moves are going to be and try to stop him. I'm like, that's my Dazai. So it probably came from him, because after they were there, those two, man, I'm like, they started playing this game of, okay, what would I do? Okay, Fyodor is like, okay, my subordinates can't really do anything unless I give them instructions. What should I do about it? And then he's like, oh, just let them, and then they're gonna have to whatever. He's like, oh, thank you. And then Dazai is like, okay, I have this, the weird waitress is not really giving me a chance. What should I do? I'm like, what is this conversation? And then after that, okay, they were like, okay, let's ask each other one question at the same time, and both of them ask the same thing: what's your mode of communication, basically with the outside world? And he's like, I'm not gonna tell you. He's like, I'm not so gonna tell you. I'm not so. Oh no, if you're just like you're not gonna figure it out. And the reason why they want to know, because if they know what the other person's mode of communication with the outside world is, then they can cut it off, and that person's not going to be able to affect what's happening outside anymore. So clearly that message that they not Fyodor, Kyoka saw on the screen came from that guy, because he knew that Fyodor was going to go after Francis, and he figured it out and whatnot. So they saved Francis, and then Francis is like, okay, I'm going to help you, but on one condition: you're going to have your son heal Margaret, and then Margaret and that is gonna kill Nathaniel or something or other like that. When he said that, I didn't see it like the point of view of her actually killing Nathaniel, because Nathaniel is doing all of this because he sort of like wants revenge for what happened to Margaret, right? So if Margaret is now okay, then Nathaniel won't really have a reason to go after Francis and all of that, to keep doing those despicable things, because he said that it's because she's in that particular condition that Nathaniel has been doing this crazy stuff. So if you bring her out of that condition, if she's now okay, won't that stop Nathaniel from, like, the reason for him doing all these things will be gone? So there really won't be anything. He won't really be doing all those things. So that's basically him killing this current Nathaniel, That's what I'm thinking. But Asushi is thinking in terms of, okay, he wants Margaret to actually kill Nathaniel. And Asushi's like, now just, that makes me remember that you actually wanted to kill all these people before. So he said no at first, and Kyuka is like, are you really sure? And Francis is like, okay, I guess our discussions is over, but before you go, let me show you something. And he brought him to Margaret. And he's like, when he lost all his money, when the guild was like gone, Margaret had to be under these other doctors' care, who didn't really take care of her that much. So now she was looking really not good at all. And that the reason why Margaret actually joined the guild in the first place was so that she can basically make the lives of her people living in her country or her family, I don't know, their lives better or something or like that. And he's like, if she had a choice, if Margaret had a choice right now, she would be like, the money that you are using to try to keep me alive or trying to heal me, just use that money for my country, basically discarding her own life. When he said that, and that's what she is like, okay, now I'm going to help you. My thought process was that, okay, not Nathaniel. Asushi is thinking that Francis wants Margaret and Nathaniel to face each other and kill, like Margaret to kill Nathaniel, basically. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. But if, after what Francis said, if he's thinking that Margaret feels that her life is not really important to her as much as saving her country or her people or whatnot, then she would be okay with dying by Nathaniel's hands or whatnot, just as long as it benefited her people, So I'm thinking that's why Asushi said yes after that. But then that wasn't really what he was thinking. He's thinking, okay, when I just see someone suffering, I just wanna help them, and Yosano can do that. So he's like, he agreed with Francis's terms, right? And now Asushi and Kyoka were heading to Mori, it seems like. Now Mori and the others were where they were like in hiding, and Mori was telling them how he didn't know what happened to Kunikida, if he was alive or not, but he knows where Dazai was, that he was first transferred here and then transferred here. and then he doesn't know what happened after that. And what happened after that was that he was like transferred to the European prison or whatnot. And then they were talking about the fact that one of them is gonna join the Paul Mafia. I'm like, eh. And then that's when the call happened. Like they brought this phone call from Francis, and Francis was telling Mori basically that Asushi and Kyoka were coming, and that he wanted Yosano so that Yosano can heal Margaret, and then in exchange for that, he's gonna give them information to prove their innocence. And Mori's like, I don't know about this, because the way Francis's mind works, whoever is in like the position of power, that's who he aligns himself with, and he feels that the military police is actually in a position of power. So if he feels that he will be siding, he would have made a deal with the military police or the hunting dogs to basically deliver the detective agency to them. So this meeting that he's setting up to have this sort of like exchange, it's gonna be a trap. So I don't know if it's a trap or not, but it could possibly be. So I don't know. There was also the Bungo and that moment where they had their Chief Tanida on his hospital bed, and he's saying that he and the chief never really agreed on, like, their ideals are different. Tanida is more lives along he has this code that the life of one person is nothing basically compared. He's willing to sacrifice one person for the whole. And Bungo is not really like that. But then he figures that even Tanida is willing to sacrifice himself for the greater good. Now, my thing is, when he was watching that video of Rumple apparently killing Chief Tanida, did he actually believe that he killed him? That he stabbed him? He wanted to kill him? Or is he thinking, having dealt with the detective agency for so long, is he actually thinking this doesn't seem right? Something along those lines. Does he actually believe that Rumple killed? No, he's still alive. That Rumple hurt Tanida or not? Because he's like, I'm gonna kill the real murderer or whatever myself. So yeah, if he actually believes that Rumple killed, I'll just keep saying killed. That Rumple hurt him, then he's gonna go personally after Rumple. This thing, man, this thing is so complicated. I don't like it. Now, okay, with Fukuzawa being imprisoned, how is he gonna let Yosano know that he did not agree with her going to work with the poor mafia? And if she does know now that she wasn't part of the deal, who else among the detective agency is gonna go back to the poor mafia? We know that Mori has been wanting Dazai to come back to the poor mafia for like a really long time. Ever since he left, he's been wanting him to come back. So is he gonna be like, I don't know, does he get to choose who he wants? Oh, he must have, right? He must get to choose who he wants to come back, to come to the poor mafia. And I really don't see him choosing, the others, apart from Dazai and Yusano. Apart from those two, I don't really see him wanting any of the others. But then again, they did say that Tanizaki's ability is really, like, when he died, that one time when they infiltrated the poor mafia's headquarters or something, and he wanted to kill Mori. That one, that's the leader of the, it's not the Black Order. I don't know. That was like his skills are really good for like murders and stuff, infiltration and murder and whatnot. Tanizaki will also be a good person to like join the poor mafia, but like I don't know. I don't like it. Thank you guys for watching. And if you like this reaction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you want to see my reaction to the next episode, you can do so by checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/feelingmini, and you can also see the full length for this reaction there as well. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. Comme l'éclair, il tourbillonne, surtout si la fille est mignonne. Nicky Larson ne craint personne.